This is Radar for On the Radar Entertainment blog, coming to another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations. This is number 38. And those who have been paying attention, I started off with only a few left from the Scobie Public Library until they closed abruptly, and then trying to pile up on movies, but it wasn't enough for 2 months. It was only enough for a month from the Des Plaines Public Library, and then illegal sites on my phone so that I don't get viruses on my computer. Occasional streaming site that was free, that was legal, like Netflix, and that wasn't free, but still, some other sites were free. Then the library opened up to bookmobile pickups, and now it's open, but they're still doing bookmobile pickups. And I can't believe it's been, the American holiday Thanksgiving, the Jewish holiday Hanukkah, and Christmas, the Christian holiday, and now New Year's Eve is coming, and we're still in quarantine and still doing these movie reviews. So I watched two movies this week that were drama. St. Francis was one, and The Assistant was the other, and it's just like, okay. They call The Assistant a thriller, harrowing, and it's super boring, and it's hour to 70 minutes, and there are a lot of dead, quiet scenes where nothing's going on, and if my remote wasn't broken in terms of fast forwarding, I would have skipped a lot of scenes. It wasn't harrowing. It's about a girl who gets a job as a production assistant in like a big time like movie producing company, and there's like sexual abuse and all this, making her do all this work and get all the brunt of the work and all the sexist jokes and all the thing, and it's like Me Too movement. And it's like, okay, it was okay. It was just I don't know, see what they did there. Then I watched the St. Francis movie where this girl becomes like a nanny for this multiracial family who's lesbian, and one woman has to work all the time. The other one's a pregnancy, like in her 40s, so she can't deal with her young child running around and the baby. And she's asked to be the nanny, and things go awry. Like she gets pregnant from her guy she was seeing, and she's not the best at babysitting. And then she eventually gets a bond with the kid and the woman who just had the baby, blah 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 blah. And it was like, okay, so it's an hour 40 minutes and it's dragging on, and you're just like, I don't really get the appeal of this movie. It's okay. I don't know why both Rotten Tomatoes and the fans thought, man, The Assistant and St. Francis are great. I don't get what SXSW, LA Outfest, American Film Festival, or the Chicago Critics Film Festival saw in St. Francis. It's just like 30 something minutes, 40 something minutes, boring, a lot of dead, unneeded scenes, and nothing that great. Yeah, the lead actress in St. Francis was okay, but it was like, eh. The movie where you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 critics reviewing like a film festival. It was The Short History of the Long Road. And you're like, huh, that girl looks familiar. If you zoom in closer, that's Sabrina Carpenter. She played the best friend on the spinoff Girl Meets World, and she had blonde hair then. It was nice that she got a movie to be herself. Danny Trejo played the nice, mechanic who helped her. It's funny, ex-con, being a less lovable guy. But basically her father raised her on his own with his own ideals, and on the road, and they're fighting for himself. The RV camper truck has like a kitchen inside, and they all take care of themselves. And what is she gonna do when her father's gone? Her father's gone. She's never met her mother, and part of the movie, this is about her finding her mom, but it's more about a coming of age story where she, has to figure out who she is. So she needs to fix the car because it's broken. It's an old one. Danny Trejo agrees to let her work there for him to pay off the truck, and is really nice to her. She comes friends with another local girl whose fan situation's not that great, and it's like she's trying to find her place because stealing from people, trying to get charity for people. You got to figure out what your life is, and for the movie that's like a 90-something minute movie exactly, and Sabrina Carpenter has a strong performance in there, you're like, this is where I get with all these critics or film festival people say this is a great movie, and it wasn't that long. So this one. Then I watched a Liam Neeson drama, and it's not him being a commuter or an air marshal or saving somebody in a movie or being in Star Wars or being in Batman. He basically has a long marriage where the daughter died, and obviously he lost his daughter, and now he finds out his wife has cancer, breast cancer, and he's got to deal with that. And their marriage seems to fall apart, but then throughout the movie, if you love somebody, you got to be there no matter what. And being an hour and a half, it wasn't that long to sit through because, I like Liam Neeson. He's not doing an action movie, but you really like his acting. So, Ordinary Love, it's a little boring sometimes. And Liam Neeson's last drama where he was like in a love movie wasn't that great. This one was okay to sit through because it wasn't that long. Then I watched another drama called The Mighty Oak. And it was about this band that was like up and coming. And this girl's brother is this like amazing guitarist where in the future, he's like this prodigy, and everybody's like, wow, he's a singer-songwriter, like guitar. This guy's gonna be great. They get into a tragic car accident. The sister now in the future, like 10 plus, maybe 10, 12 years later, is like not living the best life, and she somehow finds out that her brother's guitar, which is at this groupie back then, he owns a restaurant bar, he gives it to the tenant's kid, who's like a self-taught guitar kid, and he's like a prodigy. And one of the employees of this restaurant bar is is Carlos Pena Vega, who's from Big Time Rush. He's a real time musician and singer, and he like tries to help this kid out and teach him. And it's funny that he's in this movie playing this like nice guy who's helping the kid out. But the kid's mother, which is this part of the movie where I'm just like, do we really need to know the mother is a former soldier with PTSD and she takes heroin and all these drugs and she's never around? It would be better if it was like a mother who was working all the time because she had to work 3 jobs just to pay ends meet, and she wasn't there all the time. But to have this, and then of course let's have it where she dies, la 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 la. I'm like, I know I'm giving it away because this movie was it was a very flawed movie, and then Raven Simone's in there as a music critic, and she's flirting with men, and we know she's not into men. And it's a nice story where the girl who's lost her brother thinks her brother's reincarnated in this kid, and that's why they have to get the band back together. It's stereotypical. The black person plays bass. This woman, this British guy's the drummer. Pena Vega, he's the other guitarist in the band. The kid takes over, and they're like they blow up and stuff, and they become great. And it's an okay story, but like as I said, the mother issue was okay. All this drama involved in it. It was like it got you a little sad there when his grandparents took him away. But for the most part, it's a PG-13 movie. It's not really inappropriate of a movie. It's not that long. It's like 30-something minutes, and there's it's that movie you put in, you just kick back and relax and listen to them playing music. But it's not the best movie. It's like it's okay. It's average to above average. Not that amazing. Then I watched this film called Extraordinary, where you consider it a drama, a romance movie, a sci-fi movie, but I would feel like it's a horror film because they do with satanic devils and extra terrestrial type of thing, weird and paranormal. Because these two women, one who's pregnant, one who's a driver instructor, their father passes away, and he deals with extraterrestrial type of stuff, and she doesn't want to deal anymore because she feels like she's responsible for all this stuff, so she's the driver. A guy says, I need your help, but he's not. But it's because his ex-wife is out in the home. His daughter's possessed by this singer who's past his prime, and he's trying to make a pact with the devil to make a new album. Music is played by Will Forte, and the whole movie is she's thinking maybe this guy, because he's single, he can maybe date her, but at the same time she's trying to help. She doesn't want to help him because she doesn't want to try to do the extraterrestrial stuff, supernatural things, because it's like her father died. She blames herself. Maybe she doesn't want to help. The whole point is, will she help him or not? So it was like quirky. It was like a dramedy and all these other things, but I wouldn't call it a comedy. I would just call it like a drama. It was okay, or a horror film. It was okay. Weird paranormal stuff. So yeah, it's okay. Will Forte is the only big time actor in there. Then I watched the movie Buffaloed, where Zoe Deutch just really sells it as an 18-year-old who gets into college, can't afford it, so because her father's always been a guy who scammed people, and Judy Greer's the mother, and she's had to try their best to do everything in the movie, and her brother owns a bar but it's not really going anywhere, that she's like, I gotta figure out a way to make money for school. And of course the movie is she goes to prison for selling Bill's tickets that are fake, and she then has all this money she owes from all the lawyer fees and everything else and all the thing. And she starts working for Jai Courtney, who I keep seeing Jai Courtney in all these like films that are small time films, and he's like one of those loan shark people, like not loan shark but more like debt collector. And the whole movie is her like trying to figure out, how am I going to pay back all this money? Do I work this job? But then the whole movie is she makes her own crew, and it's very interesting that she makes her own crew of people and she puts her own touch on it. And Jermaine Fowler, who's from Superior Donuts, in there. So it was an okay movie, and again, 97 minutes, not that long, but it's not the best movie I saw. Then I saw The Outpost, which is about soldiers in a remote outpost in Keating, located deep in the mountains in Afghanistan, where they got to defend against an overwhelming fight of Taliban, the Battle of Kamdesh, and it's the bloodiest American engagement of Afghan War 2009. Bravo Troop 361 became one of the most decorated units in the 19 conflicts. So basically, it's like, let's have an area where we're under a mountain range, but then all the Taliban from the mountain come shoot from up top and come down and kill you. That's a really good tactical thing. And Scott Eastwood did a pretty good job, and of course they're not going to kill him off in the movie because he's a big time thing. Orlando Bloom, barely in the movie. Caleb Landry Jones, I was so confused to see him because he always has long red hair and facial hair, but he shaved his head for a military movie. And there's other actors in the movie that you've probably seen before, but it was okay. It was a typical action-packed drama military film trying to do the best they can to be, correct or not, and people know what's going to happen, but it's still a pretty good movie, and Scott Eastwood did a pretty good job. And even though it was like 2 hours, most of the movie flew by because it was like fighting, action scenes, introducing new characters and all these other things. So, not bad. It was average. Joey Deutsch really kind of sold the character extraordinary, which is odd. So it was okay. Mighty Oak got you a little teared up, but it's super flawed. But it's got music kick back. Liam Neeson did a pretty good job in this drama, Ordinary Love. Sabrina Carpenter did a pretty good job in The Long Story Short. The long history, the short history of the Long Road, sorry. And then don't watch The Assistant or St. Francis. It's not worth it. The other movies, they're okay if you watch them, but yeah. Thanks for listening to another edition of Movie Reviews and Observations number 38. For On the Red Entertainment blog, I'm Redder. See you guys next time.